Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Shri Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to today's class. Would like to inform devotees that I'm actually filling in for His Holiness Candramauli Swami, who's actually doing a retreat in India. So I've been asked to give the class in his place. I ask for blessings and permission as I cover this topic. It's a very interesting topic, and we will start the class. I will start with the opening prayers and go straight into the recitation of the verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jalokasham Jale Yadvan Mahantodyan Dantyaniya Durbalan Balino Rajan Mahanto Balino Mitham Evam Balistayadhubhir Mahadbir Itaran Vibhu Yadun Yadhubhir Anyoyam Bhubaran Sanjahara. Word for word translation: Jalokasham, of the aquatics, Jale, in the water, Yadvat, as it is, Mahanta, the larger one, Adanti, swallows, Aniyasa, smaller ones, Durbalan, the weak, Balina, the stronger, Rajan, O king, Mahanta, the strongest, Balina, less strong, Mitha, in a duel, Evam, thus, Balistai, by the strongest, Yadhubi, by the descendants of Yadu, Mahadbi, one who has greatest strength, Itaran, the common ones, Vibhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yadun, all the Yadus, Yadhubi, by the Yadus, Anyoyam, among one another, Bhubaran, the burden of the world, Sanjahara, has unloaded, Ha, in the past. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O King, as in the ocean, the bigger and stronger aquatics swallow up the smaller and weaker ones, so also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to lighten the burden of the earth, has engaged the stronger Yadu to kill the weaker, and the bigger Yadu to kill the smaller. Purport: in the material world, the struggle for existence and survival of the fittest are laws, because in the material world there is disparity between conditioned souls due to everyone's desire to lord it over the material resources. This very mentality of lording it over the material nature is the root cause of conditioned life. And to give facilities to such imitation lords, the illusory energy of the Lord has created a disparity between conditioned living beings by creating the stronger and the weaker in every species of life. The mentality of lording it over the material nature and the creation has naturally created a disparity and therefore the law of struggle of existence. In the spiritual world, there is no such disparity, nor is there such a struggle for existence. The spiritual world, there is no struggle for existence because everyone there exists eternally. There is no disparity because everyone wants to render service to the Supreme Lord, and no one wants to imitate the Lord in becoming the beneficiary. The Lord being the creator of everything, including the living beings, factually is the proprietor and enjoyer of everything that be. But in the material world, by the spell of Maya or illusion, this eternal relation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is forgotten. And so the living being is conditioned under the law of struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. Om Aganyatimirandhyasya Gyana Gyana Shalakaya Chakshur Onmalitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the translation again. O king, as in the ocean, the bigger and stronger aquatics swallow up the smaller and weaker ones, so also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to lighten the burden of the earth, has engaged the stronger Yadu to kill the weaker, and the bigger Yadu to kill the smaller. Before I continue with this, with the discussion, I would like to share that many or majority of the points that I will be speaking on is actually from Srila Prabhupada's lecture. It always helps when there's a lecture on a verse from Srila Prabhupada, so we can just be the parrot of what Srila Prabhupada said, and we don't have to put our own words in, because it is always a blessing, and it's really nice to actually share and speak what Srila Prabhupada has already spoken. So in this verse, Srila Prabhupada is saying that this is the law of nature. The law of nature is such where the weaker gets devoured by the stronger, the larger, the smaller gets devoured by the larger, and and we see it always around us, right? Even in our day-to-day working life, the higher positions step on the smaller positions. And sometimes we come across situations where people climb on each other so that they can push the other one down so that they can get higher. This is the material nature. This is the ladder of the material nature. That's the law of nature. That everybody is struggling for existence. Everybody is trying to make it in this material world. And what we don't realize is in the struggle of existence, there's so much misery, there's so much disappointment, there's so much anxiety, there's so much stress, there's so much disparity, there's so much frustration, so much negativity. And we sometimes think that struggling for existence will give us happiness, but actually it gives us distress. Struggling for happiness gives us distress. There may be a moment of happiness, what we call temporary happiness, but it's not permanent. And sometimes we think that that little moment of temporary happiness is going to be permanent happiness, and that is not the case. It's only temporary, just for a fleeting moment, and then it goes away. Just a matter of time. Sometimes a matter of hours, it just goes away. That moment, that fleeting moment of temporary happiness. So we live in a world where everybody is trying to push everybody down so that everybody can grow up. Everybody's trying to walk in every person so that they can become the bigger person, And we see that, and Prabhupada mentions here in his translation that we see it in the aquatics. Yes, we do see that the big fish eats the small fish, right? It exists. Everybody is struggling, and if we think about it, the material, the the struggle for existence in this material world is very animalistic. Very, very animalistic. That is the animal's way of lifestyle, where they eat the big, where they eat the small, the big eat the small, the strong eat the weak. It's a very animalistic life. And unfortunately, living in this material world, struggling for existence, we as humans, sad to say, have kind of adapted the animalistic life of wanting to struggle for the temporary happiness. And we have to work, as they say, we have to work like dogs. We have to work so hard just to get that animalistic happiness. Like we have to really struggle just to get that moment of happiness, just to get that moment of enjoyment, just to get the moment of feeling, oh, I have done it, I have made it, just to get that moment of feeling, okay, I have succeeded. But it's only for a moment, because that is animalistic life. And after the very next moment, we're back to struggling square one again. But Prabhupada says that difference between humans and animals is that we have higher intelligence that animals don't. And we sometimes misuse that higher intelligence. We sometimes misuse the power that has been given to us by the Lord to have been taken this human body, to use it for a higher purpose. But we misuse the high intelligence. We misuse the power that has been given to us by the Lord, by the grace of the Lord, by living an animalistic life. Because, like we said, animals don't have that higher intelligence. Humans do. So animals, because they lack that high intelligence, they're always working so hard, they're struggling so hard for existence, to make it in the world. Like they say, like the lion is the boss of the jungle, or the king of the jungle, or something like that. Or the elephant is the strongest animal in the forest, or something like that. But it's temporary. They are going by their power and intelligence, by their size, not by their brains. If you think about it, that the biggest animal, like the elephant, because he's huge. So his existence of a fleeting moment of happiness is because he's this huge animal that is so big, just one step, the whole floor, the whole ground shakes, right? Or the lion being the king of the jungle is because of his roar, right? So animals codify, or they judge themselves to be smart and intelligent is by their size, not by their intelligence. Whereas humans, we have the power and intelligence that has been given to us by the Supreme Lord, by the grace of the Lord, to not misuse it in struggling for existence. We are doing it day in and day out, and it has become such of a second nature that sometimes we forget to take a moment to just stop and ask ourselves, why am I doing this? Why am I fighting to get that raise? Why am I fighting to get that promotion? Why am I fighting to grow up in this material ladder? Isn't what I got sufficient and enough? And if we think about it, when we struggle for promotion in the material world, it comes with its package of stress. The first thing that comes to our mind when we are trying to shoot for that higher position, the higher status, the higher promotion, the higher level of recognition, we think that is just going to give us a higher salary. That's not it. With the higher salary comes bigger responsibilities. Bigger responsibilities mean stress, anxiety, lack of sleep, lack of taking care of our health. It comes with a package, is what we call it. It's like a package deal. So we misuse our power, and we misuse our intelligence, thinking, oh, if I get that promotion, I'm going to get $100,000 salary. Yes, definitely. It comes with that. But along with that higher salary comes the anxiety and the stress and and the worries and the problems and everything else. Do we need that? Because those anxiety and stress of getting a higher position within an organization means it disturbs our spiritual life. We don't have time for spiritual life. And when there is no time for Krishna consciousness, when there's no time for spiritual life, it's very difficult to focus on really making our spiritual life better. It really is difficult. It very is difficult because the material anxieties take over the spiritual commitments. But people are just shooting for the money. If I get a higher salary, man, it'll solve all my problems. No, it comes with a lot of issues. It comes with anxieties. But that is where we as humans, we are misusing the intelligence that was given to us by the Lord. We are misusing the power that is given to us by the Lord and thinking, man, I got this bachelor's degree, I got this master's, I got this PhD, I got this amazing set of skills. I got this amazing set of, vocational skills or technical skills or whatever skills we have to use it to really get more and more money so that I can say, by the time I am such and such age, I should reach $1 million. And if I do not get that $1 million by such and such age, I'm going to feel like I'm a failure. And sadly, that is true. Meaning there are people that think like that. By the age of 30, I should have $1 million. If not, it's just a waste of life. What's the point of living? People think like that. By the time I hit the age 40, I should have, 3, 4, 5 houses. I should own this much property. If not, it's a waste of time. Why am I living? So we equate the reason for living with material achievements. We equate, that if I haven't achieved something materially, then it's a waste of life. It's a waste of time. No, me being alive, having all this knowledge and skills and what have you, means I have to have that high level of material achievements. That's how we equate the purpose of life. That's how we equate the goal of life. That's how we equate that is the aim of life, and that is not the case. Prabhupada says, because we are misusing the power and intelligence that has been given to us by the grace of God. And I think that is where what the problem is. The problem is that we think that the aim of life, the goal of life, the purpose of life is I have this intelligence. And that's the issue. We think that we got this intelligence based on our own merits. We got the skills based on our own merits. And if we try to think of merits, what we have achieved, not everybody gets the same merits. If we put 5 people in a room, each one of the 5 people, the 5 persons, they will not have the same merits, the same intelligence, the same interest, the same hobbies, the same degrees, and the same job. Each one of those 5 people will have different interests, different jobs, different hobbies, different everything. Why is that so? Because they have been blessed by the grace of God as individuals. Krishna blessed one person with the skill of repairing a car, but not the other person. The other person, he's going to bless them with, being an HVAC guy or something. Imagine that if we live in a world where each and every person has the same interest, the same merits, the same intelligence, the same degree. It's going to be a very boring world. But that is Krishna's variegatedness. We have heard so much about Krishna's variegatedness, So we are in a world where everybody is different. We are parts and parcels of Krishna. Little pieces, parts and parcels of Krishna, with full of variegatedness. So Krishna, by his grace, by his mercy, gives us the merits and the intelligence and the skills as he wishes. So our material achievements and knowledge and intelligence and power and skills and what have you is not because we did anything about it. Yes, we did, went to school, got a degree and all that, but it's not only from our 100%, it's all by the grace of God. And we should really understand that because all intelligence and the merits and everything is coming from the Supreme Lord, then we should use that intelligence to cultivate spiritual consciousness. We should learn and understand the reason for our existence is for higher purpose, not to abuse it. It's for higher purpose. That is the reason for our existence. We should really take time to really ask ourselves, the Lord has given me so much in this material world, that how can I use this for a higher purpose? How can I use this to cultivate my Krishna consciousness? How can I use this in Krishna's service? How can I use this to better what is already there, that it's in line with our spiritual consciousness? That is the aim of human life, the aim of human intelligence. If we look in the spiritual world, and Prabhupada mentions in his purport that in the spiritual world there is no disparity. Everybody's equal there. There is no small, big, weak, strong, high, low, inferior, superior. There's no disparity. Everybody is equal. In the spiritual world, there is no struggle for existence. Everybody is equal. Because why? Everybody wants to render service to the Supreme Lord. Everybody wants to serve and be the servant to the Supreme Lord. Nobody wants to boss over Krishna. Nobody wants to lord over the Lord. Everybody wants to be the servant at the lotus feet of Krishna. So everybody is equal. Everybody is at the same level. There is no disparity. I'm big, you're small. I'm, higher, you're lower. I'm stronger, you're weaker. No. And that is Krishna consciousness. That is the aim of life. The aim of life is how to detach ourselves from the material and be attached to Krishna. See, the material world is so messed up, that the aim of the material life, unfortunately, is to detach us from God. And the more it's detaching us from God, the more it's causing us suffering. And sadly, the more we are in this suffering stage, we think that suffering means it's an opportunity to grow in the material world, struggle for existence, and make it to the top. So we have equate suffering to an opportunity to struggle to make it to the top. Pretty sad if you think about it. Pretty sad. So Prabhupada is saying that we should always ask ourselves, what is my purpose? What am I to do with the intelligence that the Lord has given me? What am I to do with the skills that the Lord has given me? What am I to do with the, lack of better word, the power that the Lord has given me? How can I use this in Krishna's service? Because what happens is when the intelligence and the skills and the power are misused for struggling for existence to make it to the top, we become a burden. Becomes a burden, becomes a huge burden. And it becomes a burden to the world. Because if you see, people are not happy. They appear to it, but they're not happy. They're all struggling. They have a smile on their face, but if you sit down, everybody has problems. You will never find one person that say, I have no problem. I have no issue. Everybody has one or another problem. Each and every soul. That's the material world. We're all struggling to live. Everybody is struggling to exist. Everybody is struggling to breathe, Everybody is struggling to make it here, to make it there. That's just the material world. So when we become extravagant and when we misuse our power, then we are burdening the world. We cannot misuse our power because we're getting this from Krishna by the grace of the Lord. So we have to use it the right way. Interestingly, Prabhupada mentions about the Yadus, and if we remember the pastime, that towards the end, in order to end the Yadu dynasty, Krishna creates an issue among the Yadu dynasty. And this is all Krishna's plan. It's all a show. It's all his Leela. And we know that the Yadu dynasty consisted of citizens that were demigods. When Krishna appeared, he instructed the demigods to take birth in the Yadu dynasty to help him in his service. But when it was time to wrap up his pastimes, when it was time for him to leave the material world, he had to take the Yadu dynasty back with him. So what did he do? He created a situation where the stronger Yadu kills the weaker Yadu. And the bigger Yadu kills the smaller Yadu. And they were killed amongst themselves within the Yadu dynasty. They were not killed by another dynasty or by another kingdom. They were killed within the Yadu dynasty, one Yadu killing the other Yadu. And these are Krishna's descendants, by the way. And why did Krishna do that? To lighten the burden of the earth. Prabhupada says in the translation here. So, so also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to lighten the burden of the earth, has engaged the stronger Yadu to kill the weaker and the bigger to kill the smaller. It's all his make-show plan. It's all his Leela. It's all his pastimes. They came and they were all demigods. All the Yadu dynasty citizens were demigods, Prabhupada said. They came, they were all demigods. They descended with the Lord to fulfill Krishna's mission as Krishna's instruction, to help Krishna in his pastimes on this material world. So they all came as Krishna's confidential servants, and they appeared to help him in different parts of his service. So when it was time for Krishna to go, to wrap up his pastimes and leave, he wanted to go with his descendants. He wanted to go with his buddies. He wanted to go with his friends. But to do that, he had to create a plan. And he had the Yadus fight among themselves. But the real purpose of the pastime was Krishna wanted to take them away. And the only way to take them away was to create an uproar and to lighten the burden. And why? Because the Yadu dynasty was very victorious. They were like unconquerable. The Yadu dynasty was so strong that no one could defeat them. Well, of course, if you think about it, each of the citizens of the Yadu dynasty were demigods, right? They were powerful. They were all Krishna's servants. So the Yadu dynasty was very strong. They were unconquerable. They were high and mighty, strong. So nobody could defeat them. So if nobody could defeat them, how do we end the pastimes? They got to be swept off the planet. And the only way was Krishna had to create a misunderstanding, lack of a better word, among the Yadu dynasty to sweep them off the planet and take them with him. If not, they would be a burden to the world. If Krishna did not do that, they would be a burden to the world, as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, in the translation here. To lighten the burden, he had to sweep the Yadu dynasty off because they were unconquerable. No army could defeat them. So it's all Krishna's plan. So the million-dollar question is, how can we reduce the burden of the world? Well, as individuals, our duty in this human form of life is that we should know that we are eternal servants of Krishna. Das, das, anudas. Just like in the spiritual world, there's no disparity. There's no high, low, medium. There's no superior, inferior. There's no bigger, stronger. There's no large, small, right? So we should know that our position is we are eternal servants of the Lord. Because we have forgotten our eternal relationship with Krishna. And how have we forgotten that? By taking birth in this material world, we have forgotten our actual position, our actual existence, and we are too busy struggling for material existence. So in order to lighten the burden of the world, the first thing we have to do is to recognize the purpose of our life. The aim of our life, the goal of our life is that we are eternal servants of the Lord. We have been blessed by intelligence, by skills, by talents, anything, only by the grace of God. And whatever we have been blessed with, we give it back to Krishna. We use those skills, we use those intelligence, we use those knowledge, interest, talents, what have you, in service to the Lord. Another way of lightening the burden of the world, Prabhupada says, is that we should bring forth children who will not be a burden to the world. We should train our children in Krishna consciousness. I remember reading a quote that I saw on a plaque in an Amish home many years ago when I was visiting, both my daughters were home birth, and they were delivered by an Amish midwife. And I used to go to her house for checkups. And in her birthing room, she had a birthing room in her house. One corner of her house was a clinic, and it was completely for, mothers who wanted a very natural home birth experience. And I used to go for my monthly checkups there. And on her wall, she had this beautiful plaque that said, and it's been 20 something years. I haven't forgotten that plaque. It said something like, train your child in a way that he or she will not become a burden to the society. And she was an Amish, a Christian. What to speak of us who are trying to be practicing devotees, and we have the higher knowledge, right? So we have to train our children, raise our children, teach our children, guide our children, show our children the path of Krishna consciousness so that they don't become a burden to the society. That's another way of how we can reduce the burden of the world. Prabhupada was saying that his spiritual master used to say, I am a sannyasi, I am a brahmachari, I'm a sannyasi, I'm not married. Therefore, I don't have children. But if I have to raise Krishna conscious children, I will get married 100 times to bring forth proper Krishna conscious children. Not for the sake of marriage, for the sake of lightening the burden of the earth. So it is our duty as grihastas. It's our duty as future grihastas or current grihastas that we raise our children in such a Krishna conscious way that they don't become a burden to the society, that they can help lighten the world with Krishna consciousness. So this, and Prabhupada concludes by saying that those of us who are engaged in the Krishna consciousness movement, we should be very responsible. We should try to understand the situation of the world and take shelter of Krishna, and everything will become successful. That was his concluding statement in the lecture that he gave on this verse. And I will conclude with Prabhupada's words. Thank you so much for allowing me to share Srila Prabhupada's words, Srila Prabhupada's lectures on this amazing topic. I will stop sharing, and I would request devotees, if you have any questions, any comments, any reflections, I would love to hear it. Any takeaways, please do unmute yourself, and would love to hear your takeaways, your comments, your questions, anything that you have. Hare Krishna. Just looking at the chat to see if I missed any points from anybody here. Okay, if there isn't, I hope that I was able to serve Candramauli Swami in some small way today by covering his class. And I hope that by sharing Srila Prabhupada's points from his amazing lecture that we all benefited and we learned. And I hope that I was able to share something, being a parrot of Srila Prabhupada's lecture, that we were able to have a takeaway from Prabhupada's points. But it was very powerful. And like I said, I'm so glad that was a lecture on Prabhupada, by Prabhupada on this topic, because this was a very deep topic. For me, at least, it was a very deep topic, especially involving the Yadus, and as what better way than to just repeat what Prabhupada said. That is the easiest way, just copy paste, as they say. I don't have to crack my head so much because there's not much intelligence there. It's just use it from Prabhupada's intelligence. So that was a blessing. So if there is no points, no
Hare
takeaways,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai.
Just want to comment. It's a very, very nice lecture, the points from Srila Prabhupada, and how we have to use our intelligence as humans, not to try to just struggle for existence. You made that point. Just struggle for existence and struggle for this temporary existence, but actually take to the very, very fortunate situation, take seriously the very fortunate situations that we're in. The very fortunate situation is we have been introduced to Krishna consciousness. We know about life, how to properly use it so that death becomes glorious and not another situation to take another body. So thank you for the points. They were very, very, very nice. And of course, from Srila Prabhupada, how can you go wrong?
That's why I was so happy. It's okay, Krishna. I said, probably you're going to save me today. I said, if there's one by Prabhupada, I said, okay, he's my savior. I'm covered. I don't have to worry. Just copy paste. That's always a blessing.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance.
Accept
All glories to
mine.
Srila Prabhupada and all glories to Guru Maharaj.
Jai.
Thank you so much for highlighting this topic very nicely, and especially using Srila Prabhupada's quotes and his statements. As you mentioned, it is really a deep topic. And,
Yes.
Being in this mundane world, you can't even imagine how good spiritual world will be, frankly speaking.
Yes.
Imagine when you were talking, I could not even imagine that how can everyone will be equal, and how can everyone can offer the service, and how can everyone will live so nice and peacefully. Is like just beyond our imagination, frankly speaking.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's so
It'll be a
difficult
very
to
boring world.
imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. And like actually, as I was preparing for this class, I was thinking, because I'm not very good in sewing, but I really admire others that have that skills to sew, and how they sew, how they use that skill to sew beautiful outfits for the deities. And I wish I had that skill, but I don't, but at the same time, and when I was, in my early days of my Krishna consciousness, I used to say, "Oh my God, I really wish I had that skill." I really, because I used to feel so sorry for myself that I cannot sew outfits for the deities. But then I had to learn over time that I do have other skills that I can use in Krishna's service, and really admire those that have it and they're using it so beautifully for Krishna's service. So yeah, that was, so it's that variegatedness.
Exactly.
Exactly. That
Accepting that
variegatedness.
we can't do what the other person is doing it, and admiring that person, that
Yeah.
is also one of the service what we are doing
Yeah.
it. And it is so
Yeah.
difficult to change our mind in that way, because
Yeah.
in this competition world, we have been always from the very beginning taught that, oh, yeah, you can't do this. Oh no, we
Yes.
should be able to do this. Try do this. Try do that.
Yes.
Try do this. As you mentioned that, running away for the promotion and taking on the responsibility. But
Yeah.
is sometimes for the younger generation, I would say that they it's difficult to explain them They
It's
will
very
learn by the
difficult. It's very
experience.
difficult.
They can only learn by the experience.
They have to be burnt, unfortunately. And the thing is that sometimes when I look, and I think this is one good advice that my sister-in-law told me. My husband's sister said that, for young people, it's very difficult to explain. They have to go through the experience. Only then will they realize it. In fact, only then will they appreciate it, because we went through that too. I mean, we had
Exactly.
that same thing.
Yeah.
We walked that same journey. I want this, I want this. And after struggling, then we realize, why am I struggling?
Exactly. There was
Right?
no need.
And thing is, our parents told us too, but we had to, burn. But the thing is, I think as parents, like all parents, even our parents, they don't want us to get hurt. And then they try to shelter us so much. But at the same time, they need to learn so that they know that, why am I struggling? Yeah, duh, now you figured it out, But it's true. They have to learn that it's just a world of struggle for existence, and only then will they learn. But yeah, they have to
they have
learn
to.
it,
You know what? I sometimes you think that you have to prepare them for that struggle as well, basically as a parent,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
this world is not kind, and this
No.
is such a bad world.
It is.
If they try not to do this stuff as well, they will be thrown away.
Yes.
Sometimes they need to be in that race for a little while, and they
Yes.
get to experience that stuff as well.
Yes.
But if you see, and I've seen parents in India, they push their children to the limit. Limit means,
Oh my God.
oh, if you see their schedule, like, first thing in the morning, they wake them up at 5 o'clock, take them to the yoga, then take them to the swimming, then take them to the badminton, then go to school, then go to the tuitions, then come back, go to the skating. And by the time child comes home at 8 o'clock, he's
They're dead.
shattered. And I said,
so
what
sad.
is the use of all this thing
Running
for your
around.
child? Like, when he or she does not get any chance to rest, play with their friends, have little, children, they need to have that time off,
Actually,
relax.
Mother, it's so good point you made, because not only is the child suffering running around, even the parent is suffering running around.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like a rat race. At the
It
same
is.
time, we are not allowing the child to be human.
Exactly.
We are making the child a robot.
Exactly.
You got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. Making someone a robot. It is
True.
really, really, really sad. And then we wonder why at the end of the life the child becomes a burden, because we made them like that.
We have, yeah, exactly. Just
We
the
made them
competition,
like
because
that.
that person's child is doing so much, and my child should be doing this much as well. And then they push them so that they should be top on everything. How can you expect a child should have all the skills in their
No
life?
way.
Come on,
That is
leave them alone.
and you see, and because we raised the child to be so competitive. I was listening to a class by Mother Nitai Sevani, a very senior
Okay.
disciple of Jayapataka Swami, in India. She gave a very nice class. She said that we challenge our kid to be everything perfect in the material world.
Exactly.
But we do not challenge our kid to be perfect in the spiritual consciousness.
Exactly. That's so true.
She said, we make them to get A's in this and A's in that, and become a swimmer, a player, everything material. We really push them, but we do not push them to become spiritualists. And she says, why? Because we think that is for old people.
Because we ourselves are not on that platform.
Yes.
That's the main thing, that we don't appreciate our Shastras. That's what I was thinking. Why is it happening? Because we don't appreciate our Shastras. We don't have faith in Krishna.
We don't.
We don't.
And
I
agree.
That's the whole reason.
Yes. That we do not believe. We do not believe
that it is true.
Then we think it's just book knowledge.
Exactly.
It's just another textbook.
Yeah.
We really don't have the faith that it needs. We don't have the trust. We don't have the belief that this is our savior. It's not the material world. And until we don't have that faith, it's very hard to pass it on to our children.
Yeah,
It's
that's why
very,
we are
very
not.
hard.
Very
It
hard.
is really hard, and it's really sad to see how many kids out there, like, really don't have, like, actually I was reading another lecture by Prabhupada, where Prabhupada says that, India has the wisdom and the culture of Krishna consciousness, but they are so far away from it
Mhm.
that they are running after the Western culture, thinking
Exactly.
that that is the dream.
True. That is so true.
It is so sad. And the kids are also part of that world,
Mhm.
that and like it's really sad how kids are so distant and
It's all artificial intelligence
so
developing a lot.
artificial intelligence. Yes, it's completely artificial intelligence, completely all around, But yeah, such a strong point how we have to raise our children, in Krishna consciousness from a very young age so that they don't get off track.
Off track. Yeah,
Because if
exactly.
not, they can become a burden. Like if we look at the Amish world, from a very young age, they train their kids in the
Mhm.
simplicity of life so that they don't become. And if you see many, in fact, you won't believe, Mataji, that when I was delivering my first daughter in an Amish birthing clinic, she
Mhm.
had 8 girls, this midwife, and she trained all her 8 daughters to be midwives,
Oh,
all of them from a very young age. And at the age of 10, they know how to make bread from scratch.
wow.
And one of them could milk cows. One was taught to wash clothes. One was, helping in cleaning the house. One was cooking, baking bread. At the age of 10, they were all trained so they don't become a burden to the society.
Mhm.
Whereas here we're trying to raise our children from, swimming class to badminton to this to that to this to that. That's okay, but we're not teaching them how to become self-sufficient.
Mhm. They don't know how to tie the shoelace, and you're putting them
No,
in the swimming.
absolutely. And we think that having them do all this is perfect. I remember when my daughter was in dance class, and when she was taking classical dance, my first daughter, I had to go to one of the other students' arangetram. And the guest speaker said that today's parents, especially Indian parents, we over engage our kids in extracurricular activities, thinking that they're going to they'll be wholesome, they'll be all rounded,
Full
you know?
package.
Yes, yes. But he said the child should have only one, no more than two extra activities outside of school. No more than two. One is enough. Two is the
One is enough.
max.
Mhm.
He said, because if you do three, four, five, we think, oh, they're going to be an all-rounder. No, they're going to be confused.
Confused. Exactly. Exactly.
And I
True.
have seen, like I don't know if they have it in UK, but they have this term in America called soccer mom, where the mother is running around taking the child one day soccer, next day football, next day badminton, next day tuition, next day swimming. Like, what a life is this?
I said, how do you have time to do that as well?
Exactly. And that is the struggle for material existence, thinking that is going to bring happiness.
Yeah.
We have made ourselves rats.
We have developed that mentality. Actually, it is nothing like that.
Yeah,
If we come out, just step outside our thinking and then
exactly.
look at it from XYZ point of view, then
Yes,
we will realize that what are we doing?
exactly.
Absolutely
Exactly.
nothing.
It is funny because my father has this, my father hates shopping. Even I hate shopping. I think I got it from him. We hate going to the malls. Absolutely despise it. Thank God I have that good quality from my dad. So, so whenever my mom, she loved shopping. Absolutely. So my father and I would drop my mom at the mall, and at the center of the mall, they have the seating area. And him and I would just sit and just watch the people going crazy. And him and I will be commenting, look at that child. Look at that mother. What a crazy world. Everybody's running around. And if you just step back, as you said, we just step back and we just sit and we just watch this movie of
Yeah,
people running
watch the movie,
around,
exactly.
you know, it's like, why are we struggling?
No point.
You know, is that the purpose of life, to struggle from point A to point B?
That's
You know,
it.
when this body was given to us by the Lord, how can we use it in Krishna's service? You know,
It's
and
like
so, and
it's like a,
yeah,
as you mentioned, it's a red race, and you
yes,
feel like you're a donkey, like, you know, just
yes,
going here and going there and taking
yeah,
all the burden on yourself. For
completely,
what?
Mataji, completely. And you know, that's why with both my kids, I only put them in one class. With my
Me
daughter, she
too.
was in dance
Me
class. With
too.
my
I do
other one,
not.
it was piano. That's it.
That's
You
it.
do music and you come home, you do homework, go to bed. I am not doing anything more than that. That's it. You're doing one. They fussed about it. I didn't let
Yeah.
them. They complained. I said, no, this is not this, you know. So I only enrolled them in one class, and then now they're like, thank God, Mom. I said, yeah, I knew you'd thank me after 25 years, I said. You
Yeah,
know?
my kid says the same thing, you know.
Yes.
Even everybody around me, my family, all of them were blaming me that I'm such a bad mother, that
I
I'm
went
not
through that too.
doing nothing for my kids.
I
And
went
said,
through that too. I didn't care.
You know, at times I did feel as well, and I said, I hope I'm doing the right thing, you know, and that my kids won't blame me after that,
No.
what I'm doing for them.
But now they thank
And
you.
when my son said to me that, Mom, I'm so glad that you did not put me for the tuitions and you taught me, giving your
Yes.
own time.
Yes.
I feel like, you know, so much connected. He feels so much connected to me. Now I feel so
Oh,
much connected to them. And also he said that, you know, when I see my friends struggling, I thought that I'm so glad that I did not work out for grammar school. Although he got admission into grammar school, he didn't take it. He said, no, I don't want to go there. That's
there
a
you
race.
go.
I don't want to be in that
There
race.
you go. Absolutely.
It's
It is
you know, they
such,
do understand, actually, if we make them understand from the very beginning.
yes. And
So
it's on
we
us.
have to change more.
Yes.
It's not that we can't blame
No,
this new
it's on
generation.
us. Yeah,
It's
it's all on
all on
us.
us.
And that's why Prabhupada said that we have to start it from the beginning stages of life for them and
We have
instill that knowledge and that culture and that understanding of the purpose of their life from a very young age so that they don't get caught up in this rat race.
true. The
Because it's
Gurukul
very
Parampara
easy.
should be back, you know. I said
Yeah.
Gurukul Parampara should be
Yeah,
back.
absolutely, completely. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's a rat race out there, mother. It's a rat race out there, no doubt about it. But yes, thank you so much. I always enjoy your takeaways and your inputs and your feedback. I look forward to it. I really do. Thank you so much.
I enjoy your classes anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, mother. Any other points from devotees before we end the class? Any questions, any comments? And if there isn't, we thank you all so much for joining us and wish you all a wonderful day. Vanchakraptubhyascha, Kripasindabevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Candramauli Swami ki jai.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.